All right. So the House GOP introduces bill cutting federal funds for sexually oriented events for kids. What's going on here?
This is bad. We have been talking about the advancing of what the bills that we have seen at the state level to the federal level. This is the first one that has been officially submitted. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene has tossed out some, you know, suggestions for one. This is the first one that's actually been kind of floated that has some teeth to it. Mike Johnson is a representative from Louisiana and has submitted this bill with more than 30 Republican House of Representatives signed on as co-sponsors. That means that, and I think the number is 33 co-sponsors. So 34 representatives in the House of Representatives have signed on to this bill saying that sexually oriented material needs to be kept out of the hands of 10-year-old and younger. Now, the bill is titled Stop the Sexualization of Children Act. And I know everybody's saying 10-year-olds. Yeah, we don't want 10-year-olds exposed to sexually oriented material. The thing is that when we begin to dig into the bill and we begin to look at what this bill actually says, it's very important to read the fine details on this. Because when we get over to the definition of sexually oriented material is defined as any depiction, description, or simulation of sexual activity, any lewd or lascivious depiction or description of human genitals, or any topic involving gender identity, gender dysphoria, transgenderism, sexual orientation, or related subjects. So the sexually oriented material is now being broadened at a federal level to include gender identity, gender dysphoria, and anything related to transgender experience. Now, sexual orientation, we've been seeing this, but they have covered the entire spectrum of what gender identity, gender dysphoria, which is a medically recognized condition, and the full experience of transgender experience. They like to use the word transgenderism. That is only appropriate within an academic setting. It's only appropriate within academic writing. It's not appropriate at the popular or cultural level because we are talking about people, transgender people. So this bill would essentially create a law that says any entity that receives federal funds or federal support cannot in any way expose children 10 years and under to anything dealing with transgender people, sexual orientation, or related subjects. And that right there is a dangerous phrase. The idea of related subjects is broad, it's vague, it is amorphous, it can be used to include anything.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at this bill, this is, first of all, it's a bad bill. It's badly written. The first part of this bill's intent is to essentially keep drag and burlesque out of the presence of 10-year-old and under. And I know, Emily, you and I have a difference of perspective on this, but the front of the bill is about, the description of this bill is always about drag and burlesque performances. But at the end of the bill, what they came back and did is they rewrote the entirety of the bill by including in the definition of sexually oriented to include transgender people in any way, shape, or form.
So yeah, it sounds like if you're an organization that receives federal funding of any kind, you're in jeopardy of losing that if on your website you mention transgender people or dysphoria or things like that. And that's again what they're trying to do. That is an erasure of the existence of trans people and making it illegal to even talk about it.
Exactly.
If there's a chance that it's public, if there's a chance that young people could see it, and there isn't anything further than sexually explicit than talking about gender dysphoria, but whatever.
When you create a class of people and designate them as sexually oriented individuals, that is the ultimate form of government sanctioned fetishization.
Oh,
The presence of a transgender person being sexually oriented material is the fetishization of all transgender people in every setting and in every way.
have you gotten a chance to read into what the opposition says about this bill and how strong that is?
I have not read anything, but I, it's one of the. I have read what commenters, are saying, and they're looking at how wide the implication is of this, in that any inclusion of a transgender person. Now, here's what I would say: if you have a library that accepts federal funds and they have a transgender librarian, the parents of that community, of that 10-year-old child, can sue the library.
Oh, it's another one of those lawsuit bills. My God,
It is a lawsuit bill. It is an economic leverage bill. It is the idea that if you hire transgender people, if you have a transgender teacher, if you have anyone who is in the office as a transgender person, and that there is a chance that that person can come in contact with a 10-year-old child, then the people, the guardians of that child can sue that institution, that entity, for the exposure to sexually oriented material, which happened to be a person doing their goddamn fucking job.
That's just absolute insanity. Wow.